Hey everybody. Okay, so this is part one of two videos that I am making to show you how to do old age. We use my wonderfully aging face to show you this. Now there's a mirror behind me because I can't do it looking at the screen because it's backwards, so it's completely counterintuitive. So I've put a mirror behind me and I'm going to be using that. That's why I'm looking off into the distance. Hopefully it's going to work. We want to think about old age in two ways. How how the face is affected structurally, and then how it's affected by wrinkles. So this week, this first video, ouch, is, sorry, I'm in such an awkward setup here. This first video is teaching you how it's affected structurally. Then the next video is going to look at wrinkles. So the first thing I did was I blended my foundation color and I blended it a little lighter than is attractive. Okay, so this is my natural color on this side, and then I blended a foundation color, and I've put that on. My finger's black because I'm also blending dark colors, which I need. So sorry, it's kind of gross that you have to look at that. And then I blended that, and I'm blending it over everything. Okay, and I'm only going to do half a face. Okay, lips. Okay, because what you want to do with old age is just begin to bring everything blah. Okay? Then the next thing you have to blend is your shadow color. So to make my shadow color, and you need very little of it, it's going to go a long way. I did a little black, a little brown, and a little of that nice, there's that really lovely violety purple, so pretty. And that's going to work really well for me. So I've kind of blended that all together. Okay. And as I say, I need very little. Now, what happens as you get older, let me see if I can get my fluorescent light. Okay, now just get ready for like the most frightening image of me, but can I tell you kids, all in the name of teaching. Okay, so what happens as you get older is obviously stuff starts to go down because of gravity, right? So we're not going to deal with wrinkles this week. We're really looking at structure. So remember we talked about let's see if I can show this. Ah, that's pretty good. There's the eye, the shadow under the eye, and the bag under the eye. Structurally, I have the bag under the eye, right? So, sorry, that's the, that's the wire. So this part is puffy, and then this right here is where that shadow is. So I'm really going to highlight that, okay? Then you remember I talked about this? This starting to come down, right? Okay, like when people go get their eyes done, they get a lid lift, okay? So this is now starting to come down. Again, we're going to really highlight that. When we did naturalistic, we shadowed that up so it would give a lifted look. But this week, we're going to really bring that down, which is going to be super fun. Here, the nasal, sorry, everything's backwards. The nasolabial, you see that coming in right here? That's called the nasolabial fold. Super fun to do. And there's two ways you can do that. Down, which is the way mine goes because the structure of my face, or it can be an apple cheek, okay? And it can go like that. I'll show you how to do both. Mine doesn't do that, okay? Because my face is kind of longer as opposed to like a cute apple cheek face, okay? Then this is starting to happen, right? Then the jowl, okay? Those are a little tricky to do because you guys don't have jowls, but you can see that I'm starting to get a jowl. Like, look, here's, woo, 10 years off your Perot. Okay, so, you know, that's what starts to loosen up in there, and that's why people get their chins done, okay, so they can lift their jawline back up. Well, it's not happening, kids. Okay, so let me just put this back. Oh, okay, get my lighting back. Oh dear, anything for you people. Okay, now, first thing I'm going to do is, all right, let's see, let me just shift this a little bit. Okay, hopefully this is going to work. Okay, so I am going to start with my eye bag. Now, we have the hard edge and the feathered edge. Okay, so let's look at that. Right here is a hard edge. where light meets shadow. And then you can see it starts to feather up. Can you guys see that? So I have to paint it that way. So I take a nice flat brush, I go into the corner, I paint that hard edge, and then I'm going to feather that. And I'm just going to bring that up like that. And you guys have to know what feathers up and what feathers down. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a smaller brush, and I'm just going to go in and soften that feather. Okay. So that's going to start to build that really nice eye bag. Love it. If I were going to do shadow, let me go ahead and do shadow on the other side. Shadow is here. Okay, now I don't have shadow, I have eye bag. But some of you guys, when you get older, you'll have shadow. Okay? And so it'll look a little bit more like that. And that's kind of fun. Like I could say, oh, okay, I think I'll do shadow. Wait till my husband comes down and sees this. Okay. All right. Next. Now let's go in and do that really fun nasolabial. Okay. So the nasolabial starts behind the nose and it goes here and down and it feathers up. Okay. So the hard edge sits inside there and then it feathers up. And it feathers right into the side of the nose. Okay, then I'm going to take that nice little blend brush and just soften that a little bit. Okay. Next thing I want to do is, remember this thing that I showed you starting to happen? I'm going to do that. And that's going to feather up. And that's kind of cool how those two lines are now connecting. Now, you little apple cheekers. Apple cheekers, are you out there? Okay, so that's going to be this way. That's going to go nasolabial. And then that's going to go like that. Okay? And then I take my blending brush. And that also feathers up. And that's going to feather right up into the cheekbone, and the cheekbone actually feathers down. Okay, so that feathered up, and that feathered down. Now, it's not going on nicely because I don't have any foundation on that side of my face. I don't have grease to take this. So we'll stick with this side of the face where I've got all that nice foundation. Okay, now I want to connect this to this. Okay, because I want to give myself a long, thin, kind of witchy nose. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And that's going to feather down. You could do a long, thin nose, you know, if you want to get a witchy look. And that's going to connect right up into here, which I'm going to explain in a minute. Okay. And this, I'm going to take my finger for this too. And remember, we're going to highlight all this. But for the moment, I'm only doing the shadow work. Okay. I hope you guys can see this. I know it's not like the lighting of the year. Okay. The next thing that is the hardest one for kids to get is above the eye, okay? And it's just a little bit tricky. So it goes like this. It goes up into the line of the brow and straight down like a puppy dog, okay? It's a little bit weird, and that gets filled in. The lid, remember how we made the lid brighter last week? Well, we don't want it bright. We want it dark. We want it to go away this week, okay? Because we want to create the illusion of the lid drooping and the eye kind of falling into the socket. So it goes up into the brow and down like this. And that's going to give this look, especially once we get the highlight in there. Okay, kind of cool. Okay. Next we need this right here. And that feathers up. Okay, because we're thinking about where that shadows. Okay. Now I need my cheekbone. Now the cheekbone, kids often have a little trouble. I shouldn't say kids, people. People often have a little trouble. It goes right up into the hairline, and it's a little higher than you think you want to feel. You can, if you move your jaw, you can feel it. Okay. So it's easy to do it with your finger. And it feathers down. It does not have a hard edge. Okay. It has a theoretical hard edge, but you don't want a hard edge because it looks kind of stupid. And it just doesn't look very real. And so I feather that down. The next one is the temple. And that's right here. It's like when you get a headache. Okay, and that goes like that. That's a circle in like that. Okay. Now you can start to see the jowl. The jowl is the hardest one of all, guys, because it's under. So you have to go under and then under. Now I get to connect the dots because I have the big old beauty mark. Under, and then it goes under the chin. Okay? And that feather. Shh. Sorry, guys, we got a new puppy and he's a little out of sorts. And that feathers up. Okay? See how that works? You get those big old jowls. Okay? Hopefully you can see that okay. It comes there. Okay. The next thing we want is under here because the lip is going to droop in time. You know, because everything comes down. Okay, so we want a shadow under the lip. Okay, right here. Let me just go. We want the lips to be kind of a dead color. Put a little foundation in there. We want the lips to lose their fullness, because that's part of the aging process too. Okay, you don't want them full. You want them kind of getting smaller and tighter. Remember, we'll do the wrinkles next time. Okay, what we're doing right now is just structural. Then we want to enhance. I can never think of the word, guys, for this thing in here. Somebody always remembers it, but there's like a word for it. And that you just want to paint in. Blend that. Okay. Then we work our way up into the forehead. Now this, I don't like the book, how the book does the forehead. Okay, so I do it a little bit differently. And you need highlight above the brow. And then you need a highlight right here. Because what you're doing is you're just enhancing the dip in the bone right there. Okay, it just goes like that. It's a little bit different than how they do it in the book. Okay. Okay, so that's generally the shadow. Now we take a bunch of white. Okay, put that on your thing. Again, you don't need a lot. different brushes, and your highlight goes where the opposite of where all your shadow work has gone. Okay, so for example, I'm going to go down my nose because I want to enhance where I did that shadow. And if I happen to go over my shadow a little bit, no problem. I'll just put my shadow back in. Okay, and I'm going to bring out the kind of pointy quality. Okay. Next, I'm going to hit the side here to enhance that line down the center that I can't remember the name of what that thing is called. Then I'm going to go over here above the brow to enhance the highlight above the brow and this highlight. Right above there. Okay, I'm going to take white and go backwards. Big old chew of white and go backwards on my eyebrow. Okay, next I'm going to go to the eye bag and really bump that up. If you're doing a dark circle, that you don't highlight because there's nothing to highlight there. I'm going to go around this thing, the temple, to enhance that. Blend that a little bit. And then I'm going to really enhance this droop by highlighting the droop. So let's look at what that looks like. Okay, so it's straight down. So I enhance that droop. Okay. I'm going to blend this a little bit more. Okay. Top of the cheekbone as it connects into the temple. Really creating that bone structure. And remember, there's no hard edges with the cheek. So I have to really blend that. Nasolabial. Which connects into the cheekbone. This little thing in here, I don't think there's really a word for it. I'm just going to pop it right here. Pop that. Other side of the jowl. I'll paint it first and then I'll show you. I don't know if you can, you probably can't see it, but I'm going to come back and show you guys. Okay, so we've got forehead, temple, cheekbone, eye bag, droop, all the work in the nose. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so let's see. Hold up my picture, my line picture. Okay, so here's, oh well, I've got a little bit of work there. Okay. That's the structure. Then next week we'll put all the wrinkles into it. Okay? Okay, you're going to make yourself old.